Welcome back to episode 2 of the AmandaFest podcast. I am so excited to introduce my next guest. But before we do that, I would just love to take a moment. Wherever you are, wherever you're listening to this, just take a moment to connect with yourself, drop in, get present, really be here for the conversation. So I'm going to close my eyes and put my hand on my heart and one on my belly. Just take a nice deep breath in and out. Really feeling what it feels like to be inside of your body. Maybe shake it out, shake out the day. You can make some noise if you want to. Get here, get present. I'm so stoked to introduce today's guest. This is my dear friend, Alexandria Agresta. I just added a little ring to your name.
Yeah.
She is one of the coolest people I've ever met. She is a serial entrepreneur, a speaker. She has a TEDx talk, and very recently, she has moved into the DJing space, and I was so lucky to get to be present for her very first live DJ set, which I'm sure she'll talk all about. But yeah, I would love to introduce Alexandria and have you, if you want to give a little bit more coloring as to who you are, what you're all about, and yeah, then we can go from there. Welcome.
I liked your little like Spanish flair, maybe a little Italian flair on my
I don't know.
name.
I started rolling the R. I was like,
I know. I was like, ooh, I might have to have you introduce me on all my stages.
we talked about this.
I know we have, but thank you for having me on. Like we were talking about, feels like we're just hanging out and talking on one of our amazing wisdom walks where we're just diving into all the things. So really excited to bring some magic and fun and wisdom to your audience and the amazing AmandaFest. So a little bit about me, where I like to start of like who I am. I'm just this squishy little sparkly Care Bear that is just here to show people new possibilities and help them tap into their magic. Like that is who I am at the core. And I think I have all these really cool expressions of how that comes to life of the TEDx talk I've done, which is all about courage and taking bold action. And I'm a speaker. I love getting to help people tap into their power and their magic through the power of words and being an entrepreneur. I come from both sides of my family are entrepreneurs. So, I got really lucky. That's all I saw. So, getting to be in what I call the life accelerator. Business is a life accelerator, and getting to have, many different companies that I run. It's been really awesome. But like I shared, it really all ties back to my mission, no matter what vertical or expression that I'm bringing to life, is to help people feel alive and present in the moment, because that's all we have, and show them these possibilities that are literally swirling all around us. And most importantly, help them remember that they are magic and they're made for magic, which is the DJ name.
Made for Matt.
I said the name of the movie in the movie.
I love it. I love it so much. Actually, I think it could be really fun for us to share how we met.
I would love that. I'll let you kick us off because you have way more of a memory around all that than I do.
Well, it's just I want to share this only because I think it's such a testament to who we are as people, and also a reminder of, let me tell the story and then I'll explain the context. So in 2022, we did not know each other, complete strangers. I went to see Rufus Du Sol perform. There was a festival called Sun Dream in Tulum, and my friend Dylan and I flew out to Tulum to go to this festival. We stayed at this hotel, and everyone at the hotel was going to the festival. So it was like a really cool, like we would all hang out at the pool, then we go to the show, and it kind of felt like college a little bit. It was really fun. But very long story short, I met a bunch of people that weekend, added a lot of people on Instagram, didn't like have intense connections with everyone, just loosely met all these people. There was one guy that I knew I had met from the pool, but whatever. Those Instagram friends that you have and they're like on the back burner. You're like, I met you on vacation one time. We exchanged information, probably going to delete you one day, but we'll see. Well, I'm really glad I didn't delete him.
We are
because
too.
I know we talk about this all the time. We're like, we were one like house cleaning away from never connecting again.
Yeah.
Alex and I didn't really meet that weekend. I think maybe we met very briefly, but I had only connected with her boyfriend, Connor. And so he and I are now Instagram friends. And I'm like, who's this random guy? Long story short, cut to what was it, Miami Music Week or Art Basel? Art Basel
Or at
first.
Basel, yeah, because that was, like, December of
Art Basel
2023.
yeah, Art Basel Week in Miami 2023. I'm in Miami and I'm on Instagram and I see Connor is posting stories from Miami, and then I see another couple that we were in Tulum with also posting stories in Miami, Reese and Madison.
Yes.
And at the same time, I am trying to go. I see. I'm whatever. Really long story short, I'm at Art Basel Week, and I see Rufus is playing a show, and I'm like, I'm going to see Rufus 100%. Then I start to see all the people that I was in Tulum with posting that they're in Miami, so I start pinging them, saying, I'm going to Rufus by myself. Are any of you guys going? Also, did you know that so-and-so is in Miami? And I start connecting the dots. Turns out Connor and Alex live in Miami. I had no idea.
Yeah.
They end up inviting me to go with them to Rufus. By the way, I had already bought a ticket. I was already planning on going by myself. That is like my whole
It's
motto.
the Amanda way.
That's the Amanda way. I'm like, I always buy the ticket. I'm always planning on going solo. And then it always turns into a whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I got my ticket, and then you guys invited me, and then Alex and I slowly started, we met at her house for the pregame to see Rufus
Yeah, it was, like,
again.
2 in the morning, and this girl that we apparently met in Tulum is now at my house, and I'm like, "Great, we're friends now,
Like
so that's
sleeping
awesome."
at your house and sleeping at your house.
Yeah, I'm just like, "Well, this all happened really fast, and I would expect nothing less."
But the craziest thing was throughout the night, you just were saying little things here and there. We didn't really know each other, and I just kept every time you spoke, my eyes widened, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, this girl is. Oh, I really like this girl. Ooh, she's so cool. Oh my gosh, I really want to be her friend."
And here we are, like, 8 months later
And I
from the
don't.
reconnection.
And since then, though, wait, what have we done? We've done Art Basel. We did Miami Music Week. We flew to Denver to see Alesso. We've
Yeah.
like gone on these incredible, it's been this really beautiful combination of fun party play and deep, introspective,
Yep.
growth oriented,
Yep.
inspirational connection, which I just think is so cool and special,
Yep.
especially because I don't think either of us were looking for friends. Like both of us,
So,
like I,
it's hard to make friends in your 30s, probably, I mean, honestly, 40s, 50s, probably at any age, but I'm not often looking for new friends, and that's
no.
what's really cool. I feel like this is a common theme in my life, is the most magical things pop in, whether it's a person, an opportunity, just something amazing pops in when I'm least expecting it and when I'm not even looking for it, and then poof, here it is.
And you're just like this magically aligned human just fell right into my lap. And for me, you coming into my life at the point in which you did felt so magical because of who you are and what you do, right? You are such a beautiful embodiment of so many of the things that I'm creating right now, AmandaFest being one of them.
Yeah.
And you've been such a pillar of inspiration over the last few months as somebody who says they're going to do something and just does it.
Yeah.
And, I think I invited you somewhere last week and you were like, I'm in a creative hole, not available. And to me, I was like, yes, I want more friends that say no to me because they're busy grinding and pursuing something that they're passionate about. That
Yeah.
is the level of connection that I'm seeking. And you are
Yeah.
just such a beautiful embodiment of
Yeah.
party play.
Yes. I love that. Thank you. I received that very deeply, and, I really believe you just shared the best sweet spot of all time. I really believe that we can be in this beautiful dance of fun, play, expression, silliness, ridiculousness, and depth, growth, introspection, reflection, amazing, meaningful conversation. To me, that makes me feel whole. That's how I want to connect with my friends. I want to go party and I want to share crazy stories. And I'd love a quick little life lesson weaved in between. So we walk away being like, that was the best time ever. We shared insane stories. We were talking about scandal documentaries and this and that. And I feel 1% better than I was before I hung out with that person. I feel like I discovered just
100%.
one new thing about myself. To me, that is just what a life, what a dance to be in with that sweet spot.
Well, I think that leads us really beautifully into the theme of the episode.
Mm.
A really long prologue, prelude,
There we go. The prologue, I think.
prologue.
Introduction?
You
I
know
don't
what?
know.
We're going to get a dictionary out after this. But anyways, you could tell I did a lot of prep for this episode.
Yes, I love it.
But the theme of this episode and what I would love to talk about with you is this intermingling of, you know, you and I love the party. We love going to festivals.
Yep.
Obviously, that's how we met. We bonded over music. We bonded over
Yep.
life. But really bringing the party, embodying the party. I mean, that's the tagline of this podcast, right?
Yeah.
How can you become the party and bring that party with you through every piece of life
Yeah.
and like outside of the festival space? And the word that comes up constantly for me is integration. How do you integrate the festival experience and take those pieces and that magic and that joy and play and that wonder and that excitement and weave that into every single day to have an elevated level of existence?
Oh my God, we need like 8+ hours to really dive into all of that. But I'll give you the abridged version. So, first, beautiful question, amazing, thought provoking question. I think the first thing that is so important that we remember is that the moment actually never ends. I think we get so stuck in this linear timeline, in this finite yes, no, start, finish. And I think that's what creates a disconnection and a dissonance of, oh, the party only happens there. The fun only happens at the music festival. We've created this disconnection from self and party when really we are the party. Like, have you ever experienced someone walking into the room and you are just mesmerized by their charisma, by their energy, and you're drawn to them? That is the perfect example of us being the party. Now, yes, there's some energy that's bigger and louder than others, but that doesn't mean that there's not room for all of us at the party. Because think about a painting. And my best friend Thomas talks about this all the time. So shout out to that wise little nugget that you got to meet. So grateful. You know, he talks about
Weaving
um,
connection.
yes, all the connection magic. So think about a painting. If we saw a painting that was just all white, maybe there was some, you know, some depth to it. We'd be like, "Oh, great. Like that's nice." Then imagine if we saw a painting that was all black. Maybe, some texture. Cool, that's nice. But imagine a painting with all the beautiful colors weaved in, and there's texture, and there's swirls, and there's strokes. We go, wow, that's beautiful. That is a beautiful analogy for us at the party that is life. We all make this up and it never ends. We bring the magic, we bring the sparkle to the space, right? And we turn it into this place in a space and time, which is pretty cool. So I could keep going, but I'll pause it there and bounce it to you because I would love to hear your nuggets on that.
No, I love that. It's so I'll shout out my good friend
Yeah.
Evan, the party coach who I created No
Yes.
Fun with. He has this saying, and I'm actually going to bring him on the podcast soon, so we'll probably dive into it then. But he talks about that the party tent is big enough for all of us. And
Yes.
when he's referring to that, he's talking about like the full spectrum, right?
Yes.
We're talking about people that are participating in substances, are not participating in substances, are loud, are quiet, are shy, are whatever you are, why ever you're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter because we need all of those pieces in order to create that. Like, one of my favorite things and I'm sure you experience this as a speaker all the time, is just the idea that in any setting that you're in, whether it be a speaking, festival, a party, a concert, you will never, ever, ever be with that same exact group of people in that exact moment ever again in your entire life. And
Yes.
so that makes each and every single experience like that so, so, so special and
Yeah.
so unique.
Yeah.
And it takes every single participant, right? We're participants in life. We're
Yeah.
participants in creating
Yeah.
the experience that we want to have.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love the way that you put that. And I think that so many times there are people that maybe aren't as extroverted or aren't as loud that feel like they don't have a place in those spaces, and it could not be further from the truth. Like,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's so wild that you shared that, but also not because we're very aligned in how we view the world. I say that to my audience members when I'm speaking. I've said there is no one on planet Earth that has experienced the moment that we have in this room. It's almost like every moment is an initiation. Right?
mm-hmm.
Think of fraternities, sororities. You go through this experience with the brothers and sisters of that specific class. I love that tradition and I love that ritual. I think it's very symbolic with other things that we can experience in life. And I think if we really just make these small perspective shifts and go, okay, wait, the party, I bring the party to that space and the moment never ends. And oh, we need all of us to create the collective magic, right? It's these little things that have compiled in my mind to then create a belief system. And I think it's easy to hear these things and get excited and be like, "Oh, yeah." But then when it comes down to it, we get the anxiety. We're like, "Oh my god, I got to," especially if you're introverted, it's like, "I got to go to this party. I have to like go to this festival. I have to talk to all these people. I'd rather just stay home and with my squishmallows and watch Netflix," which sometimes I actually would rather do. But, you know, if we just make these micro shifts in how we think and how we perceive the world, it's then that the world starts to shift and shift in our favor.
Right? What is the quote where it says that the world isn't what it is, it's how we see it?
Ooh,
Something
I
like that.
I
It's
love
something like
that.
that. Well, because you think about a movie you've watched, right?
Yeah.
You could watch a movie when you're 10 years old and go back when you're 25 and watch it again, and it's an entirely different movie. The movie didn't change at all. You just changed your
Yeah.
perception, your understanding, things that went over your head, and life is a lot like that.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like we could dive into this topic all the live long day, but I really, really want to dive a little deeper into your journey and your
Yeah.
experience. And, I know that you had a business that you were working on for a while with Thomas, and then
Yeah.
you ended up pivoting into something else. And I know I like stayed up all night doing research on you. I watched your TED Talk last night. I know that you have a new baby project that
Yeah.
you are in the midst of birthing right now, and I'd love to
Yeah.
hear more about that. And in the telling of sort of what you're working on and sort of how that's navigated, I'd love to just pull pieces, little nuggets of wisdom of just, yeah, how do you do it? Like, how do you keep going? How do you believe in yourself so much?
Oh my god. You know what's so funny? Thomas will tell you, he is the first to say, like, "Alex, the level of self-belief that you have is psychotic."
It's
And so
incredible.
I honestly, and I say that very humbly, you know, it I don't fully know the answer. I feel there are I can tell you all day long, "It came from this, it came from this. I tell myself this, I do this." But I think there's just something much bigger than myself. I think, like all of us, we've lived many lives. There's many old souls on this earth. I think I got some gangster wisdom from, like, many lifetimes ago that I packed in my little DNA purse and brought with me into this lifetime, because there are moments where I've reflected back and I'm like, "Damn, y I would think that that would have knocked me down." And then I'm like, "No, hold on. That should have knocked me down, and that should have knocked me down." And I'm still here, and I will still be here. So, I think that's a reminder for all of us, is the habits and the beliefs and having amazing conversations and surrounding yourself around people. Those are all such important ingredients. But really, to answer your question, it's never it's never cutting the connection and bond with whatever you believe to be bigger than yourself. Whatever it is, whether you call it God, universe, spirit, earth, whatever you want to call it, I've always had an unshakable bond with whatever is bigger than me, and it helps me stay humble. It helps me stay grounded, and it reminds me that I am just this little speckle of this huge cosmic, magical, intergalactic, infinite, vast black swirling hole that we're all floating in. And it just
For real.
it's true. It just reminds me that I'm just this little thing that's contributing to so much bigger. And it almost helps me step outside of myself. And on the days where I'm like, this is a lot. Like this is too much. The level of uncertainty and adversity that comes with entrepreneurship, it's bonkers. But it's in those moments that I go, my mission is so much bigger than that. I can get through this.
Mm.
Like I was assigned this mountain to show people that it can be climbed. And I feel that way.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, girl.
I feel that way with all of us. I think we get so wrapped up in how painful the pain is. And I'm never negating that, because there are days where the emotional pain, the spiritual pain is agonizing for me.
Mm-hmm.
But we were assigned these mountains to show the world that it can be climbed, and we can climb all of them. And if we remind ourselves of,
Mm-hmm.
we quite literally tap into power like we've never felt before. It's infinite.
It's so wild that you say that. I've been feeling that so similarly when people ask, about my journey from the last year. The way I describe it is, I'm like, it's been the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, but
Yeah.
it's the lows that allow you to really appreciate the highs.
Yes.
And I will also say, as you and I are really, really similar, I feel that I'm experiencing all of the things that I'm experiencing so that I have the capacity and understanding and felt sense remembrance to be able to guide others through those experiences. So even when I'm in my lowest moments, when my brain is saying things that are unkind and it gets dark. I mean, it's really funny. You and I are both such bright, like extroverted, excited, bubbly people.
Yeah.
And people assume that that's, if people don't take the time to get to know us. When I was younger, most people didn't and just assumed that was the only layer to me. No one ever took the opportunity to dig deeper, or many didn't, and they
Yeah.
missed out.
Yeah.
But when you have that level of like, yeah, people don't expect you to have depth. And I think going back to the painting that you were describing, it's the swirls, right? There
Yeah.
is no black painting. There is no white painting. We're all these swirls.
Yeah.
And I think that the people that sometimes shine the brightest go to the darkest places. And
That
it's
was that's exactly it. I think the most common misconception with incredibly positive people, right? Optimistic people, is
mm-hmm.
people don't understand, to get to that level of optimism and positivity, you have to be dragged through the mud. The level of pain that that person has had to go through to be able to transmute that into something that's bearable to deal with every day, right? It's like it's almost like as much light is as much dark. That's the equation that people don't it's not just all light, right?
Well, and willing to face it too.
Yes.
I think that's where the toxic positivity comes into play. When
Right.
you see, or spiritual bypassing, when you
Yes.
see people that go love and light, no bad vibes, that's fucking bullshit. If anybody says good vibes only, no bad vibes, run away.
Yeah, that it's just very lacking in a lot of the juiciness that creates everything that we're talking about here today.
Totally, totally. I know somebody. I forgot. It's sometimes you surround yourself in the circles that you forget what exists outside of them. I met somebody recently who, was engaging with me on social media and was like, "I love what you're posting. I love how positive you are, this and that." And we connected in real life, and I very quickly realized that this person was avoiding all of the shadow work.
Yeah.
And they were presenting as, they got the same tattoo as me, that I have a tattoo that says gratitude on my arm, and like this and that. And like, if you look at us side by side on like a 2D, you're like, okay, they're similar. And this person thought they were very similar to me. And I was like,
Right.
no, but what you're missing is you see the work I've done.
Right.
You don't see what it took to get there. And all, like you're seeing me at the other side of it. And by the way, there is no such thing as arriving.
Yeah.
We have our beautiful, amazing, fun, peppy days, and then we go into the deep, dark holes of ego death. And
Yeah.
it's rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. So I was trying to describe that to somebody recently when I saw you. I saw
Yeah.
you after a massive ego death, and you asked me how have you been, and I'm like, not great.
Yeah. I'm like, tell me more.
Not great.
Yeah.
Been really in it, and that's okay. But looping all the way back to the point of what you were saying of, feeling that I feel that responsibility, that and privilege. It's a responsibility and it's also a privilege to
Yeah.
get to go to those depths, to get to feel that darkness, and to know that it's for a greater purpose. And to know, I think one of my favorite ways of thinking about it when I go to those places is not to trust my thoughts while I'm in that space.
Yes.
It's like you have like, the opposite of rose-colored glasses on. It's like everything that I see is doom and gloom.
Right.
But part of my brain sees all doom and gloom, and then the other part of my brain is like, hey, this isn't going to last forever. This is a little segment, and it's going to end, and you're going to see the light again, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be magical, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And holding on, we were talking about this on one of our walks. I was talking about trying to bottle up the energy and the moment at a festival. There was this one very particular moment at the very end of Tomorrowland last year in Belgium. And I remember it was all ending, and this was marking the end of my big summer of adventure. And this was felt really, really big.
Yeah.
And there were so many emotions. And I did the same thing where I put my hand on my heart and one hand on my belly. And I was like, took a deep breath, and I just wanted to feel it. I wanted to feel all of it. And then I wanted to bottle it. And I remember telling myself, remember this feeling. Don't forget this feeling, especially in those moments where shit gets dark, where things get hard, where you don't want to keep going for whatever reason. Being able to tap back into those moments of ecstasy, of bliss, and remembering I will arrive there again.
That's it. Right? The moment never ends, and I will get back to that feeling so long as I choose, right? I think it's about that every day waking up and making that choice to remember that feeling, remember your magic, and get your little tote bag, get your stuff, and march every day back there. And right, like life really is this, it's just returning back home. There's this quote that completely just rocked my world. I read it in a book. So the famous sculptor Michelangelo, or sorry, I think he sculpted Michelangelo. I don't know. I don't really. No. It's Michelangelo who sculpted David. Yes. Okay. History's not my thing if you can't tell. So someone was
We'll fact
asking.
check after this.
Yeah, we'll get fact checks, Mubby. I stick with what I know. But Michelangelo, he got commissioned to do this incredible sculpture of David from David and Goliath. And it was the greatest sculpture of that time. No one had ever come near, how he did such a realistic representation of David. And someone asked, like, how did you do that? And Michelangelo's response was, I simply carved away everything that wasn't David.
Mhm.
When I read that, like, to this
I've
day,
I know, I think about that quote very often.
I'm like, that's life. That is what life is about. We're never becoming something new. We're not even starting new things. And this is really I'm hot on this as of lately for my own evolutions. Everything I'm doing, it might look new. It might look like, oh, she's starting something new. However, on the inside, I've just been chiseling away at everything that isn't me. I've been
Mhm.
chiseling away at the things that aren't the truest expression of Alexandria Agresta. And what you see right now is my David. And that's why it's so potent and so powerful, because I freaking dragged my ass through the mud for 15 years to get to this point. But woo, it's so worth it, because the self-expression and the acceptance and the excitement, or all these feelings that I feel now I'm ready to supernova the damn light with the darkness to the whole world.
Oh my god,
Woo!
yes,
Thank
girl.
you,
Oh,
Michelangelo. We heart you.
no, while you're saying that, there's this, it's not about becoming who you are, it's about unbecoming who you were told to be.
That's it.
It's about, yeah, stripping away all of the shit, and we all have it. Nobody's perfect. No, if anybody says that they had a perfect childhood, if anybody says that they have no problems, if anybody says that their life is perfect, they're lying. They're not lying. They're disconnected.
Yes.
And I have compassion for that, because
Yeah.
I was a fucking poster child for disconnection
Yeah.
forever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
And then I woke up and came into my body. That's why I like to start these sessions with just coming into your body. It's so simple. It's so little. It's not a big deal. You don't have to be, meditating for years and years and years. Just take a breath. Notice your breath. Touch your arm. Feel the water. Like, one of my favorite things, if people say, oh, I can't meditate, or I don't know how to whatever, notice how water feels when you take a shower on
Yeah.
your body. Notice each part of your body, and like really pay attention to how that water feels when it hits your skin. And that is a step towards connection back to self.
Yeah.
Because this society these days, man, like, it is a fight. It is
Yeah.
a fight
Yeah.
to stay in our bodies. It is a fight to stay present, because every single thing that exists, social media, all of these things, are just chipping away at our attention and trying to distract us and take us further and further away from self. And to your point, it's, instead of chiseling away and allowing us to get to our core and get to our center and get to our purpose and get to what we're trying to do in this life, it's like they're fucking mounting on clay. Like,
Yeah.
more and more
We're
and
like,
more and more.
we're trying to chisel. They're like, here's another block of clay that we're going to plop on you.
And so if you're lost or struggling or having a hard time, that's normal. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like what you've done, Alex, and what I'm trying to do with this podcast, and the guests that I'm trying to invite on here, the guests that I am inviting on here, you are such an example of this, is I was like, I want to bring on the people that are fucking doing the thing.
That's it.
And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be a movie star. You don't have to be the world's biggest DJ. You don't, it doesn't have to be, I think so many people think, especially when you ask, what is your dream? Right?
Yeah.
If you ask anyone, what's your dream? There's, some people have a response, some people don't have a response, and some people are like, oh, it's not a good one though. I've heard that a lot.
That's a damn
And
shame.
and it's sad, because your dream can be anything. Your dream, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom and raise children and take care of, like, that's a beautiful dream. If you
Yeah.
want to own a home one day and live a simple life, that's a beautiful dream.
Yeah.
Whatever level of whatever you want is right. There is no wrong in what you want. There is no wrong in what you desire. There is no such thing as a dream not big enough. Where I think the difficulty is when we're so disconnected from self that someone asked me, I think it was, how long ago was it? It was January of 2023 is when I decided that I was going to leave my old job.
Yeah.
And I had put every single ounce of my being into building somebody else's dream. And I was happy doing that. I had no issue doing that until I did. And I remember when I decided I was going to leave that job, I hired a mindset coach because I was struggling and I needed
Yeah.
support.
Yeah.
And she asked me if you could do anything, if you could have anything, if someone right now offered you whatever you wanted, what would you ask for? What do you want? What do you want to build? What do you want to do? What do you desire? And I had no idea.
Yeah. Wow.
I had no idea. And then I was mad at myself for not having any idea. I was like, how do I not know?
Yeah.
How have I gotten so far away from allowing myself, even allowing myself to think about what I want? I just shut it off. I
Yeah.
shut it off, and getting focused on your day job, getting focused on you can get so distracted and so lost, getting stuck scrolling on social media
Yep.
instead of daydreaming about what do I want.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's distraction versus devotion. And I think it's so easy to get consumed by the distraction because of the society that we live in. But circling back to what you said, I think one of the just travesties in our life and something that rips my little Care Bear heart apart is when people don't follow their dreams. And I want to break this down from my perspective as an entrepreneur. I think this will be really useful. Being an entrepreneur, being in the entrepreneur world, I think what has been misconstrued is a lot of people connect following your dreams with quitting your job, giving up everything, and leaping into a black hole of uncertainty. When right, there are some people that do that. That was my route, but that's just one way to do it. I actually, now that I'm 10 years into being an entrepreneur and running a business that provides me my full time income, I do not recommend that route. I do not recommend quitting
Same.
the job with no plan. I don't want people to experience the level of uncertainty that I have experienced. It's
Yeah.
unbearable. Again, I don't know how I've made it through because there are times in entrepreneurship when you do the whole leaping thing and quitting the job thing where your most basic needs on Maslow's hierarchy ain't met. You don't know
Mm-mm.
where the next client's coming from. You don't know how 20 grand is going to poof into your bank account to pay your employees. You don't know how you're going to eat food the next day. And while that's the mountain that I chose to climb, and that's part of my journey, that's not what it means to follow your dream. And I really want to start, I'm glad we're talking about this because I really want to start communicating this to the world that starting your dream could be finally focusing on something that lights you up, dedicating every Sunday from 12 to 2 to painting because you are a lifelong painter. And when you paint on that canvas, you feel alive. Or Monday nights, one of my best friends, she has had a dream of doing stand-up comedy. She finally did the thing. She does stand-up comedy classes Monday nights. So I want to make following your dream less big and less ambiguous because that bigness gets people stuck in overwhelm and then they don't do anything. When the whole purpose of life, from my eyes, is to come here and fuck shit up and reimagine things and create and tear things down and build them back up. Like it's all of it, the expression, the creation. That's the whole point of life. And if we trade that in for this, and that isn't ours, it's someone
Mm-hmm.
else's, that's when we got to wake up and go, hold on, hold the phone. What do I really want? Just like when your coach asked you that question and look at the life you've created since you finally got real and started answering that question yourself. Amazing. We wouldn't even be here today, maybe. Who knows?
No, we definitely wouldn't because I know 100%.
Yeah.
I love that. And to add on top of that, I also feel, yeah, like that when I was trying to figure out the wording of how to describe what I wanted the inspiration of this podcast to be, I was like, I want it to be about following your dreams, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted to be really specific, whatever that means for you.
Yes.
And for us, like, not everybody was put on this earth to teach. Not everybody was put on this earth to speak. Not everyone was put on this earth, you know, that I feel like you and I found each other because our missions are super aligned, and we both did the quit everything, put everything in storage,
Right.
leap into a black hole. And the craziest thing about that is I read a book, this book called Becoming, Beqoming, one of the best books I've ever read in my life. And I definitely want to read it again now that I've done it. But I remember they were talking about stepping into alignment, and they were talking about that chapter of leaping into the unknown.
Yeah.
And I remember what they were suggesting, or not suggesting, but they just talk about it. And I was like, haha, that sounds crazy. I would never do that. I would never quit my job without another job lined up. I would never leave my apartment without knowing where I was going next. And then that's what unfolded for me. But to the point of the chiseling away, I also don't believe, I do believe in free will. I think that we all make choices, and we get to do whatever, we want. And I also believe that we have paths.
Yeah.
And for me, at no point in what I've been doing did I feel like I was doing something wrong. I was scared. I was really afraid. I was like, I didn't know what was going to happen. And even now, when I look back on it, I knew that's what I had to do, because I also knew that I was put on this earth to make change. I was put on this earth to experience the full range of human emotion, to go through all of these hardships, to understand these things at a really deep level, and to share my story and support other people through whatever they're moving through.
Yeah.
When it comes, exactly what you were saying though, like when it comes to anyone listening to this and thinking, okay, I want to follow my dream. Yeah, not everyone has to get rid of everything, and it doesn't have to be that intense. When I started my healing journey back in 2017, the first thing that I did to come back home to myself was I started pole dancing, because and
Wow.
it sounds so random, but it was the first thing that I recognized that I was living on autopilot. I went on this transformational trip, and I came back, and I was looking at the life that I had built for myself up until that point. And I realized that everything that I had done and everything that I was doing was just on autopilot. I was spending time with certain people, whatever. So I started to think, what brought me joy when I was a kid? And we do this in No Fun. In one of our programs, we actually go back to, we do these journal prompts taking you through your childhood. What was fun for me when I was, in elementary school? What was fun for me when I was in middle school? And looking at how that definition of fun has changed and evolved.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because last night I was with my friend, and we were talking about the theater kid to festival goer pipeline.
That is a very distinct pipeline and archetype of person, and I love it. I'm here for it.
Her theory was that the theater kid to Disney adult pipeline is way more sure than and I was like, I bet you a lot of theater kids are festivalers. Like, it's a thing.
Totally.
But all of this to say, like, me stepping into going to shows and doing festivals and dancing up and dancing on the beach and going to ecstatic dance and all of the things that if you look at my Instagram or if you know me, you know that I'm into and I do. It's not that far off from when I was a little kid and I loved to dance up and I was in theater and I was in dance recitals and I loved music and I loved costumes and I loved, nothing changed, but I forgot. But I forgot. There was a long period of my life, a big period where I forgot. And I think people get stuck in that period of forgetting.
Yeah,
Because
that's it.
we knew when we were kids. When we're talking about how do you step into the most aligned version of yourself? How do you tap back into your joy? How do you chisel away and get back to your core? Go back to your childhood.
Yep. It really has all the answers.
Was it painting? Was it dancing? Were you the quiet kid? Did you like to read? Did you like to write poetry? Did you like to just sit in nature? Whatever it is, you knew when you were little before someone told you not to do it. You were doing it.
And another thing I want to add to all the beautifulness that you're sharing, I think when it comes to remembering who you are, getting back here, following your dreams, it's not about quitting that thing. It's about letting go of the parts of you that no longer fit where you want to go. And I think that reframe
Oh.
will change everything. And don't get me wrong, when you start to let go, you're going to have some tough conversations. You may need to let a job go. But again, that's different than quitting the job with $20 in your bank account, right? That's so much different than this no longer fits where I'm
Mhm.
going. You
Mhm.
might need to let go of a friendship, of a relationship. I call this the friends cleanse. You know how many friends cleanses I've went through as I was up leveling? And you'll love this, Amanda. There have been a handful of friends where we didn't even have to have like a we're parting ways party. It
Mhm.
just was a natural detaching because I'm one vibrating at one frequency now and they're vibrating at another, and it's not right or wrong. No, nothing bad happened. It's just this is the beauty of constantly up leveling and being in your own evolution. It's just a natural invitation to just let go of what no longer is your David. And that's the part that I think is, not as alluring to people because that's where you're going to have to run towards truth instead of away from it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you grow in different directions.
That's
We
it.
we we talked about this on one of our walks where we were talking about I was talking about plant medicine
Yeah.
and what plant medicine is, right? Where people think that it's you take this substance and then your whole life is different.
Right.
And that's not how it works at all. What my favorite analogy is the lighthouse, right? Where it's you're in a little boat in the dark waters and you see the lighthouse. When you take
Yeah.
the plant medicine, you can see the lighthouse. So now I know, okay, shore is that way. That's plant medicine. Tells you, okay, shore's over there. The work, integration, is now I know that land is over there. Now, what do I have to do to get to the land? I have to row. I
Yeah.
have to row all the way to shore. And the rowing is exactly it's the part that people don't want to do because
Right.
it's hard.
Right.
And I think that's why so many people, I was really afraid to sit with plant medicine initially. And I know you're not a big plant medicine person, but you have all the wisdom of
Yeah.
someone that has, because I think, you found it in other ways.
Yeah.
But for me, that's been my journey. So that's the best way for me to describe it. But yeah, I was initially really afraid to step to face myself. That's what I was afraid of. I wasn't
Yeah.
afraid of, I was afraid of losing control and facing what I already knew to be true.
Yeah. That's what it
Because
is.
I already, plant medicine has not once ever shown me something that I didn't already know. It
I know.
just forced me to look at it.
That's
It
it.
was, it just forced me to look at it. And then after that experience, my action was, all right, I saw it. Do I want to pretend like I didn't see it?
Right.
Or am I going to do something about it?
It's I saw it. Now what are we gonna do about it?
And some people choose not to do anything, and some people
Right.
choose to continue, and that to each his own. Some, maybe you're not ready. A lot of times you need the lesson over and over and over again until you're ready
Right.
to move past it, to learn it, to take the wisdom. That's fine, but just acknowledging what that path looks like, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the common theme of doing anything creative in life, doing anything, just doing anything, right? Doing it requires facing hard stuff. But I'm a big believer that once we do the hard thing, everything gets easier, right? It's just like building a muscle. When you go to, I'm a big F45 girl, love crazy hit classes at 6 in the morning, listening to like crazy EDM music. Yes, I'm just like, "Mah!" But just, when I started working out, my whole body was sore. I couldn't walk for 2 weeks. It was insane. And now that I go consistently, right, the consistency, the devotion, to keep going back to the gym, to keep doing the hard thing, it's easier now because what happens is when you consistently run towards the hard thing and you face it every single day, it liberates you. And then whatever truth is revealed under that hard thing, it then just returns back to you. Right? It's like life is this big puzzle and we're just kind of like collecting these pieces and we're like putting it back into our suit like Power Ranger style or like Care Bear style. And our soul is like, we've been waiting for that piece to return back to us. So, I think people just get so hung up on like, I'm so scared to have that conversation, that hard conversation. What are they going to think? What are they going to say? What if they leave me? What if I'm rejected? What if I fail? But if we don't play in that space, we don't run towards those scary things, we rob ourselves of our potential. And to what life is that to me? What life is that? That's no life at all.
Girl, yes.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
I feel like we're like sermoning right now.
I'm like, can we just continue? I just want to talk to you 24/7 all the time.
I
But
know.
we are coming up on time.
I know. We got to go back on our walks. Okay, done.
We're gonna go back on our
I'll
walks.
send you a Cal invite.
Great, amazing. So this is a really great place to take a pause for a second before we wrap up. I want you to, I would love the opportunity for you to share how we can find you, how people can stay connected with you, if you have anything exciting coming up soon. Yeah, let's do that, and then I'll ask you my parting question.
Yes, I would love that. So I think I always have a million things going on, but I think what I would love to share, and it all connects to magic and party. As we've talked about, I've been a professional speaker for over a decade. It's my medicine. It's how I do hard things. It's how I liberate myself. And then last year I became a DJ because music and movement and dance has been a part of my life forever. And recently thought to myself, what if I merged the two? What if we did business and party at the same time? And I'm like, this is totally why I have been the business meets party girl. I'm doing business by day, raving by night. So I have officially debuted my DJing speaking keynote experience where I am speaking and DJing at the same time to get people moving through things, right? Anything we that we feel we need to think our way through, we actually have to move our way through. So I'm going to be blending speaking and music and movement and magic to create this unparalleled, unmatched experience. So just follow me. I would really my call to action for everyone is let's stay connected. I want to hear about your magic. I would love for you to, follow along if you feel inspired with what I'm up to on my journey. But that's really my big thing that I want to start putting out to the world. Speaking, DJing, and then DJing speaking. It's this little trifecta that loves to all hang out and create together.
I saw your DJ speaking reel yesterday, and I was like, I want to go to this.
Oh my God. I was screaming at my videographer or my editor in the best way possible. I'm like,
No, it looks amazing.
I'm like, you're amazing. He's like, but it was you. I'm like, no, it was you. You put it together. It was amazing. So yeah, we're going to blow that up. So if you're someone that hosts events, you think this could be amazing, let your girl know. I am here to invite people into their deepest expression. I am here to merge business and party. I'm here to show people new possibilities. And we get to do it in a circling back to where we started. We get to do it in a way where we're going deep, we're learning about ourselves, but we're having the time of our lives at the same time. So follow me, check me out. I'm on the gram. I'm on LinkedIn. If you're on there, I have some fun newsletters. I'll make sure you get all the links, but LinkedIn and Instagram are my biggest parties, my social media parties.
Amazing. We'll post all of your tags below.
Yeah.
So
I'll give you
out.
all that. Yes.
And then my parting question, because I know we have an 8:05 departure. We're at 8:01. So.
This is good timing for us.
I know. It's my old personal assistant logisticer.
Yes, I love that.
Wrap it up.
Yes.
Okay, so my parting question is, and I know we've talked about all these little nuggets of wisdom, but if you could go back in time and give yourself one nugget of wisdom that you now have, what would that piece of wisdom be?
I would tell young, squishy, little Alex that you are exactly where you need to be, and everything that you're experiencing is sculpting you into the woman that you're going to become. I know. I feel this swell up.
Alex, this has been so fun. I really hope that everyone else enjoys this conversation as much as we did, because this was just a fucking blast.
We definitely enjoyed ourselves. So
I
if
had
y'all didn't, we sure as hell did.
I had so much fun. I am just
Yeah.
in awe of you and constantly inspired by you, and so excited to continue to see what you're doing. And I'm so happy to share you with
Yes.
my audience and merge audiences, and excited for all the collaborations that are going to happen in our future, and shows and events and parties and changing the world.
We're changing the world one party at a time, people.
It's going to be amazing. If you ever see us on the dance floor, come say hi.
Please do.
And yeah, until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Alex. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, morning, evening, whatever time it is for you.
Mwah. Thank you all so much.